Welcome back to another episode of On the Mic. We have an incredible show lined up for you for tonight. But first, tonight's episode is brought to you by Bruiser Baits. Fish the best with Bruiser Baits. Check out their full lineup of products, bait, tackle, and accessories by going to www.bruiserbaits.com. Spearpoint Performance Hooks, featuring their all-new, innovative V-Grip technology. Fish get pegged, but they won't come off. Check them out at www.spearpointhooks.com. And Power Pole, swift, silent, and secure. Check them out by going to www.power/pole.com. All right, we have one heck of a show for you tonight. Joining us on the mic is the president and the CEO of Major League Fishing. Mr. Boyd Duckett is coming on board tonight. So trust me, if you are a fisherman, if you are a tournament angler, or just a weekend warrior, or just somebody that likes getting out there and walking the bank with a fishing rod, you have to watch this episode. So anyway, without further ado, let's get right into tonight's episode with Mr. Boyd Duckett. We are on the mic with the president and CEO of Major League Fishing, Mr. Boyd Duckett, man. Boyd, what is going on, my man? How you doing today?
Well, everything's good around here. Just down here at Guntersville, the water's cooling off, which is great news because we'll catch them good this fall.
Yeah, there you go, man. Well, we're going to roll right into it. Boyd, I want to go back to the beginning, man, the summer of 2009. A group of 14 anglers, yourself included, along with Gary Klein, KVD, Skeet, Alton Jones, Denny Brower. You all gathered in a meeting to discuss a new creative idea, kind of a new tournament format. How did that idea involve? Where did it come from? And 17 years later, going into 2026, could you ever have imagined back then where Major League Fishing would be today?
Well, it's interesting. You never really know where things are going, but you do have a dream and you chase them. Having been an entrepreneur my whole life, in addition to fishing professionally, I'm kind of used to chasing dreams and trying to find ways to make things come true. So I guess it's not crazy that happens. We had sort of reached a point, those of us that originally all got together to do this. Gary Klein and I had talked about this format for a little while, a couple of years probably before that start point. And the idea was to try to expand the audience. It felt like all of professional bass fishing. Look, nobody had done anything wrong. Nobody's mad at anybody. It wasn't any of that. It was that our sport had a lesser audience than some of the other big sports. That's
Right.
fair to say. And we also recognized that in order to make the sport pay better and be a better future for those new aspiring professional anglers coming, it's critical that the sport grows in viewership and fans, because honestly, we sell media, right? Like all
Right.
sports, we sell media to raise money to allow these guys to fish professionally. So that was the drive of the dream, was, how can we offer the sport of bass fishing with a little more intensity, a little better coverage, just all of those things. And so, back when that, first kicked off, I guess 2010 might have been our first airing from memory.
Right.
And that was just the culmination of us saying, hey, we're going to catch, weight, release everything. It's going to be intense. We're going to have real-time leaderboards. The game changer is that real-time leaderboard.
Yes.
And everybody in the boat knowing exactly where they are. So that was kind of the dream, was to try to make a difference at the higher level. And, of course, a ton has happened since then.
Yeah. Now, the catch, weight, release format, that's something back then that's really never been done before. How difficult was it, to start out? How big of a learning curve was it? And I guess I should say, how hard was it to get that started, being that it was something brand new? Nobody's ever done it before. And I'm sure there had to be some mistakes made at the beginning during events, but how hard was the learning curve in doing something brand new like that that's never really been seen before in the industry?
Well, it's always always tough when you're trying to do something new, but those are also really fun challenges to take on. We've done a lot of things over the past, 15 years now, I guess,
Yeah.
that hadn't been done before. So that was maybe the beginning of that. The catchway release. Remember, we just had the Cup events, had officials in every
Yeah.
boat, and so it was pretty achievable. It was actually hard in the beginning to find a scale that we felt like that that you could calibrate so that everyone had exactly a correct scale. That was one of the biggest fears from the
Right.
beginning. So we kind of had to overcome that, and we went through several. And of course, fast forward now to what we use with the Bubba scale, and they're
Yeah.
they calibrate. They're all exactly the same. So we kind of overcame all of that. But that was kind of a big challenge, and then creating our score tracker system so that it was almost instantaneous, where when you deliver the weight, and there was a lot on the back end to build out that score tracker system and to make that happen. It's
Right.
just, it's like 20 or 30 seconds before your weight, before the whole world knows what your weight is. And that
Right.
was really a bigger stretch, was to create the technology to be able to manage that. And if you look at where that has gone, fast forward, at ICAST this year,
Yeah.
we announced that the rebuilding of Score Tracker, making it available to the world. So you can imagine what it's going to be like for us moving forward, where we may be, weighing 100,000 people's fish instead of 24, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Now, on that note, we're actually going to talk about the Bubba scale. That's a good segue into talking about Bubba scale. We'll go back to a couple questions that was actually before that. But how important has the partnership and the relationship been between Major League Fishing and Bubba Scale? With the innovation and technology, really, and the impact that both Major League Fishing and Bubba Scales really had on the environment as a whole.
Well, we assumed way back in 2009 that it would have a very positive impact on the fishery to catch, weigh, and release everything immediately. And that was just sort of obvious and common sense. As time has gone by, a lot of things have happened. One is we kind of perfected the way to do that.
Right.
But more importantly, tournaments grew, and a lot more participation on the tournament side has occurred. A lot more usage of our public waterways, and really in the past 5 years, the states through various testing programs, like here in Alabama, Auburn ran a test over a couple of year period.
Right.
to look at post weigh-in mortality. Not just, we do all we can. We're the largest tournament organization in the world, run 250 tournaments a year. We do our very best to protect and take care of these fish. But no matter what you do, if you, especially with a big fish, you put them at pretty high risk, riding them around all day and going through a weigh-in process. And I guess common sense would tell you that as well. But now we have data to realize that that's way harder on our fisheries than any of us ever intended. So we have been focused on creating catch, weigh, release where everybody can do that at every level. And American Outdoor Brands, but I want to say I've worked on this probably 5 years, so it's been a long time, and we had a couple of other potential partners, and we tried to create a scale that would interface on a national level with hundreds of thousands of people being involved. And it wasn't until we were able to hook up with the engineers at Bubba that also were motivated to make a contribution that would have the impact that catch, weigh, release. I don't think anyone would question. If we catch, weigh, and release every big fish we ever caught in America, our fisheries may be greater than they ever have been.
Yeah.
Ever, because the state fisheries departments, they have learned a lot. They have learned how to manage at a higher level than say the heyday of the 1970s when, all these lakes had 8, 9, and 10 pounders in them, and we know how to do a better job now. So
Right.
if we put all of them back, it may be better than it ever has been. So great motivator, and I sure appreciate Bubba for getting on board and helping us make this dream come true. And we're there now. We'll be launching this to the public somewhere in February, March of next year.
Yeah.
We'll have to work through some bugs or whatever, but we're going to get this thing down where the whole world can catch wave and release
Yeah.
it. And what that does for anglers, by the way, this we know what it does for the fisheries and for positive conservation. But don't forget, going to live leaderboard for all of our pros and everybody that's fished our format of live leaderboard, it's the next level in bass fishing. I mean, just for if somebody has a local Saturday hospital fundraiser on Lake Norman, and everybody that participates gets to watch themselves real time on leaderboard, it's just another level. So we're super excited for everybody to enjoy tournament fishing the way we get to at the highest levels.
Yeah, and also for our viewers, if you haven't watched that video yet, when it was released at ICAST, I actually was able to get up there and film that interview you had as well with Bubba at the Bubba Scale booth there. But if you haven't watched that release of what Boyd's talking about, go back to it's on a couple of my different channels, Facebook, and I have it on YouTube as well. But go back and watch that announcement, because it kind of Boyd and the couple of gentlemen at Bubba, really break it down. So it's a really, really good announcement. So go back and watch it if you haven't seen it yet. But Boyd, 2018, the creation of the Bass Pro Tour. Now, how did the idea and concept get put into action with the Bass Pro Tour? And again, just like going back to the beginning in 2009, something we've never seen before with a top-tier tournament trail, bringing that new innovation into play. The concept, the idea, putting into action, and it had to have been a huge risk to do that, because again, anytime you do something new like that, especially at that level, it's always going to be risk involved. Where did the idea come from to start a trail, another top tier trail, and how did that concept get put into action for the 2019 season when it all took place?
Well, I think having fished the Cups, which then expanded to the Select, so we had about 48 guys fishing Major League Fishing style events, get wave release, real-time leaderboard, all of those things. And honestly, just a lot of the pros wanted the opportunity to be involved with it.
Yeah.
We could only run so many of those Cup events, so we kind of listened to the pros from both FLW and Bass Elites, and they all wanted to be part of the new machine and the more exciting format, and our audiences. We were killing it on our media delivery, and just seemed like a better opportunity for those guys. So they kind of all gathered up, and came to me, and I got with the Major League Fishing team, and we were like, hey guys, we got to take this next step, So we kind of put all that together, and that's turned out really well for us, and it's allowed anglers to hit a new level in media coverage and recognition and financial success, honestly. So, and then of course it was about a year later with the acquisition of FLW that got us. It seems like all of that was happening simultaneously, because we went from just running our pro events to now running all these grassroots levels too. But it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, it's been a lot to do.
Now, really, how is the live? Got tongue tied there. How has the live leaderboard kind of changed the sport from the competition level? Because now it's kind of given the fishing fans out there a first-hand look at not only the angler personalities in real time, but the pressure some of the anglers go through, because these anglers now know, which again, it's something we've never seen in the sport of bass fishing before. Now they know if they're 1 pound off the lead and they need a 2 pounder with 4 minutes to go to win the event, the decision making. They have to go through real time, because it does change things up on how the anglers look at it too, because with a 5 fish limit, you really never know if you need one more 5 pounder and call a 3 pounder to win the tournament. Now they actually know in real time. So changing the sport from the competition level. What's your opinions on that, and how do you feel it changed the sport?
Well, there's no doubt that the live leaderboard is an absolute game changer. That was one of the primary items that I felt like would make it more exciting. Gary and I talked about that a lot, but in growing a fan base and making it fun for somebody that's watching the program.
Yeah.
To watch what we really go through. What are these guys going through out there, And so to amp it up where they knew where they stood, they can never be comfortable. In the old days, we'd go catch 5 fish, and if you had 17 pounds, you should be pretty good. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And so I won't call it a relaxed day. We fish some big events, Bassmaster Classics for
Yes.
$500,000 and all that stuff, and they're exciting.
Yeah.
But nothing like knowing where you are every minute of every day. It just amps it to the next level.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I'm so excited about with the Bubba system, and being able to offer that to everybody in fishing any event. When you know where you are and you make decisions, and it either works or doesn't work, you live through that emotional roller coaster of the tournament day. I mean, at the end of the day, you got your tongue hanging out.
Oh yeah.
Just to make the cut, man. It is another level of bass fishing.
Yeah, and we've seen some incredible nerve jarring finishes. Not only this past season, but since the inception of the Bass Pro Tour, and one of them comes to mind. The most recent, coming back to Chickamauga Nickjack, man, the battle at Nick between Wheeler and Lawrence, dude. If it wasn't for the live leaderboard scoring, catch, weigh, and release, you would have never been able to witness a finish like that with any other style tournament. And then go back to when Bobby Lane wins, the 2022 Red Crest in the last few minutes. Stuff like that, it just makes it so intriguing. And from my point of view, that's one of the ways it's changed from the competition level as well, because a lot of those finishes, I mean, you would never see in any other type of weighing.
It is. It's crazy, and that has fortunately, resulted in substantial fan increase, viewers, minutes viewed on our live stream, the opportunities for us to be on Bass Channel platforms and, all these various places that we can run our live stream.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we could have ever done that. We could never have put, on Roku or Samsung or anywhere bass fishing when it wasn't exciting.
Yeah.
It's fun for us that fish because we understand, but for the average person, watching on Rumble, to see a guy standing there fishing doesn't mean anything. But when that guy's, loses the color in his face because he just went down 2 pounds and there's 2 minutes left, then somehow he hooks one. That is an excitement level.
Yeah.
That is a real-time sport excitement level for a fan.
Exactly.
Much less the angler.
Yes, sir, exactly. Let's talk a little bit about the rule changes over the last couple of years. Now, in 2019 to 2024, we had an 80 angler field, and then 2025 it was cut to 66 anglers. And now going into 2026, we're going to be down to 51 anglers. What is the benefit of a smaller field? And my point of view, one of my biggest things with the smaller field is that you might be able to go to a more variety of bodies of water that with just say 100 or 80 boat field you wouldn't necessarily be able to fish. So are we going to see the Bass Pro Tour go to some bodies of water maybe smaller that you not necessarily have ever had a high tier tournament been to before? And in your point of view, what is the benefits of a 51 versus an 80?
Yeah, guys, there's no doubt, and it'll just be 51 by the way for a year. When we made the decision 2 years ago to go from 80 to 50, the only reason there was 66 was a transition year
Right.
to let give all the guys a fair opportunity to qualify. Those that did, to boil it down to that final field of 50. And
Yeah.
the idea behind that, in our sport, we've not ever had that highest level of competition, that small field of the very best in the world competing, where anyone in that field might win that tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, you have just the best of the best, and that's something that I think will be really good for our sport. In that, the fans, no matter where the camera goes, the fans are looking at a top competitor
Yeah.
that's won plenty of events that may stand to win this event. So that in
Yeah.
itself, I think, will help in growing the fan base.
Yeah.
From an angler perspective, the opportunity to just cover 50, 10 cameras on the water, we still do a ton of camera transfers. And if you have a field, like the old days of 100, or 150, even in FLW, you just can't cover the event. You can't cover
Right.
all of what happens. And so the opportunity to cover all of those guys, and then if you look at the media exposure it provides for this, this new level of competitors,
Right.
those will obviously be the superstars in the world. They already are, but with all of that coverage, it offers them economic opportunities because what they can do for their sponsors in all of their delivery. I mean, as an angler, back when I was an angler full time, my media exposure is what paid me. It
Yeah.
wasn't entry fees and payouts. I mean, you hope to make all you can while you're out there, bonus money.
Yeah.
But it's what I can deliver for my sponsors, just like NASCAR
Right.
or anybody else, is what really pays you the money.
Yeah.
So creating this field of 50 that should all greatly economically benefit was kind of the big part of it. And then
Right.
there's some other items that it helps. You mentioned being able to go to smaller bodies.
Yeah.
It's really easy to run a 50 boat tournament. You use about any boat ramp there is. We can go to smaller lakes because we're not on top of each other. So
Yeah.
it opens up. It's not all the Gunnersvilles and Raybirds and Tohos, right? We don't have to do that to fit them in. So we
Right.
have a lot of great options with just 50. So it's it's like a new chapter in bass fishing that's never happened before. Bass actually at one point had, maybe they called it the Elite 50 from memory. I fished some of those,
Yeah.
and that was super cool. And honestly, that's one of the drivers is those events. They didn't make it. I don't think they could figure out economically how to make that happen. But I think we figured that out on the business side to be able to run the entire tour all the time at that level.
Right.
And that's just an elevated level and a better opportunity for 50 guys than there ever has been. So
Right.
for the guys coming into the space, you've got a platform that if you can get there, you're going to make good money.
Yeah. Now, in 2026, the Bass Pro Tour is going back to no restrictions on the forward-facing sonar. Why do you feel there has been such a huge controversy with when it comes to the forward-facing sonar? I've said before, and I've said a lot of times, forward-facing sonar, man, is one of the best innovative tools that they've ever came up with. We have learned so much about fish, so much about what fish do, so much about how fish move around, how they relate to baits because of forward-facing sonar that we really would have never known if we didn't have it. So why do you feel that there's been such a really big controversy with the forward-facing sonar? And again, everybody's entitled to their own opinions. And there no opinion's wrong, it's your opinion, but the controversy, what's your feeling on that, and why do you feel that it's so big when it comes to that?
Well, I agree with you in that the advent of the forward-facing technology
Yes.
has been awesome in teaching us
Yeah.
a lot about fish habits. It's a phenomenal tool in that it allows you, really it allows you by percentage. I mean, here's kind of an easy way to look at it. Ken Van Dam spent most of his career, probably 80% of his casts were to nothing.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bass center. And with forward-facing sonar, Drew Gill spent 100% of his casts to a bass.
Right.
I mean, if you just think about it from that position,
Yeah.
the technology is so powerful that you just can't compete with it with other traditional techniques.
Yeah.
So I think that's what made it so polarizing, and that's also why what we've done at Major League Fishing, we took a position 2 years ago that it needed to be controlled because you don't want technology to change your sport in any
Right.
sport. I mean, every sport has control of technology, but it certainly deserves and is entitled to be incorporated into competition.
Right.
So we landed on a third of the day at Bass Pro Tour where it could be active a third of every day. And that's proven to be pretty well received by the fans and the anglers as being close to the right amount. Not saying
Yeah.
it's perfect, but right now it's the best we have. And so much so that you're going to see us moving into next year do that across the boards at all of our levels. Because I can tell you that what can't work for tournament fishing at any level, and it hasn't. I mean, forward-facing sonar, as great as it is, also has been such a disruptor to tournament fishing because, one, everybody doesn't want single-dimensional fishing, right?
Yeah.
Like, if all you could ever do is punch a 1.5 ounce weight the rest of your career, you might not tournament fish anymore.
Yeah.
Even if you're good at it. If all you can ever do is throw a plastic worm, you might not do it anymore.
Yeah.
That's more, it isn't about forward-facing sonar, it's that it's so effective it became single-dimensional. So finding a way to incorporate it into everybody's day so that, you know, you have your shot at your best technique, and the cranking guy has his shot, and the Carolina rig guy has his shot,
Yeah.
the topwater guy has his shot. Now it becomes one of many techniques that may win the event,
Right.
and the sport is expanded and it's open to everyone. The other strong point about forward-facing sonar, because it's been very, you know, dividing. It's divisional.
Right.
The tournaments that we have local, I live on Lake Guntersville. We have 1 million bass, probably more than anybody in the nation. We have non-forward-facing events, and we have forward-facing events. We have, you know, all the different options. None of them are participated in well.
Right.
If you have a non-forward-facing event, yeah, you get some guys, but nothing like we used to. If we're going to have a good tournament, just an open, anybody's open on Saturday that you want to get your buddy and fish in. You know, we used to have 100 boats in those, and they paid good, and they were fun, they're great events. Now there's 26 boats.
Yeah.
And then if you ban forward-facing sonar, or if you allow either side, if there's no control, we can't make it tournament fishing with a divided community.
Yeah.
So it's our belief and our goal to find a way to marry the communities again, right? Like we used to, where
Yeah.
everybody comes together and competes, and they all have a chance, and they all participate, and as a result, we have great tournaments again with
Right.
big turnouts, which equal good payouts.
Exactly.
So that's, to me, what has to happen, and we'll be moving to that third of the day on Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit,
Right.
Toyota Series, and the VFLs moving into this upcoming season. So you're going to see us control all of it. And hopefully that become the norm. We've created technology to make that easy to do now. Every tournament in America can restrict it to a third of the day. And we have good technology now, and we have more coming in the future that will make it easier and easier. And hopefully everybody can come together again and fish in the same tournament.
Exactly. The team series. You know, this is the third. I think the third year that you're doing the team series.
Yes, sir.
And again, the team series, it just kind of goes back to show, you know, how Major League Fishing's at the forefront of new ideas. You know, the involving in the sport. Um, but as far as a team series is concerned, where did that idea come from? And because if you look at it from a fan's point of view, you know, we're seeing anglers fishing as a team now that typically you watch them, you know, during the Bass Pro Tour events, they're fishing by themselves. Now you're seeing, you know, anglers paired up, and it gives the fans watching the perspective how they fish together, because when you fish as a team, it's a total team effort. You gotta think like, just like a football team trying to win the Super Bowl. You know, there's no different in team fishing. It's based all around the team, about the team, and we're watching angler. Some, you know, some of the anglers work really well together, and for the most part, some of these anglers have never fished really together as a team in any tournaments. So how did that idea come from, and get started as far as a team? And another thing I'll say too, Boyd, is from a fan's point of view, just like a football fan, you know, once the Super Bowl is over, you know, a football fan, there's no more football for 5 6 months till the season starts up the next year, you know. And I kind of relate that to a fishing fan. You know, once Red Crest happens or the Classic, typically, you know, fishing is done till the next season starts. Well, now, you know, the team series almost to the point where it's keeping the fans engaged almost on a year-round basis, because the competitive end of it never really stops throughout the entire year, maybe with a month at the end. But what's your feelings on that, and where did the team series idea kind of get started at?
Yeah. So, you know, the team series idea, we ran the cups, you know, for a long, long time. Very successful. It was fun to watch the guys, no practice and all those things. But as time went on, we're always looking for improvements. And honestly, that came from the anglers. A lot of the anglers said, "Look, man, the majority of America team fishes
Yeah,
every weekend. They team fish.
right.
And how cool would it be to see two of our guys, the top pros in the world, pick each other in teams and go out and compete and do what everybody else does?" So that idea was born within the anglers, as a lot of the ideas of what we do at Major League Fishing
Yeah,
kind of come from, and then we sort of patched it together, put it together so it would work and make good shows and all of those things, and it has. It's given us a tremendous boost in ratings on the team series, and they're a lot of fun to watch, and especially with some of these teams, you know, you get a couple of guys together, you know, like Wheeler and Canal, you know, they're really good friends anyway, and they have a good time, whether they win or lose, they have a really good time. Or MDJ, Wheeler and MDJ,
who just pulled off the last event.
Yeah, that's right. They pulled it out.
Congratulations to
really
Wheeler
close.
and Mark, man.
Yeah,
That was an awesome man. That was a come from talking about, you know, the intrigue of lifetime, you know, weights. That was a come from behind win as well for Wheeler and MDJ. So congratulations to them boys.
I'm telling you, but that's just, you can tell those guys are having fun. But I think that's it. It's just more relatable to you know, all the regular guys that fish every weekend. They fish team tournaments, and now you're watching, you know, your top pros that you like, watching them fish a team event. So that's been a fun program.
Yeah, the third and final event of the year is coming up, the Patriot Cup, October 22nd through the 27th. Make sure you watch it live on MajorLeagueFishing.com as it all goes down. But Boyd, man, we're going to end this thing, dude. One final question though: do you ever miss putting on the jersey versus the suit?
You know, I do sometimes. I really enjoyed my time.
Yeah.
You know, it was. I worked my whole life, and that is also something that motivates me greatly, and I've had a lot of fun. And so as a Major League Fishing grew up, it was probably easier for me to get away from professional fishing, because I get it every day now. And so it's sort of like, you know, it's sort of like winning. You know, when you're part of it, and you're able to sort of chase that dream, it's almost as good as the competition. So I miss it some, but I love what I'm doing, so I wouldn't trade anything. I guess if I did, I'd go back to fishing, right?
Boyd, we really appreciate you joining us on the mic today, man. That is some great insights we just got from Boyd Duckett. But Boyd, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man, and really look forward to catching up with you again come next April at Red Crest.
Certainly appreciate the opportunity and look forward to see you anytime I can.
Yes, sir, Boyd. Thank you so much for taking the time, Boyd. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Thanks for watching this week's episode of On the Mic with Boyd Duckett. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Norman Lee Fishing. This week's episode brought to you by Bruiser Baits, Spear Point Performance Hooks, and Power Pole. On the Mic is an NLF production.